Facebook has a splash screen which takes a short time to load the login UI. I'm assuming Facebook tries to figure out as much as possible about the device and its owner before showing the login UI. Since we don't have such capabilities, which I personally find disturbing, we might not need a splash screen at all. We can go directly to the login UI. However, this isn't ideal and we should show a splash screen the first time the app is launched. iOS applications take a while to load. They feel much faster because they show a splash screen when they first load. This means the image of the UI appears almost instantly and is replaced by the actual UI once the loading finished. To the user, this seems seamless in a well-crafted app. Codename One runs the application on the Mac cloud servers 16 times as of this writing to produce 16 separate screenshots matching the various device configurations. Some device configurations include both landscape and portrait mode, for instance, iPads, high-resolution phones, etc. As a result, the numbers add up to 16 separate screenshots. Notice that this is subject to change as we are moving toward an automatically generated native splash screen in iOS. But since that isn't there yet at this time, this is still relevant. For a typical application that doesn't require login, this isn't a problem. It can show the UI of the first form. For instance, in the case of Facebook, we show the feed without any data. This would give a sense of loading data, which would pop in once loading finishes. Unfortunately, Facebook's login UI looks very different from its feed UI, so the first activation would seem odd. If the feed UI was replaced with the login UI, in that case, we'd rather have a splash screen appear for the screenshot process. Since the splash screen is pretty much identical in the native iOS/Android implementation, there isn't much we need to do in terms of design. First, we need to add a new UI controller class that will handle the UI navigation and hide the underlying forms. Here we can implement the splash screen and later the navigation to additional forms. This can be static, as it happens once, and we can control it. Using Absolute Center, the logo will be in the middle of the screen for all devices/resolutions. We defined this UI ID earlier. It uses the Facebook icon font. That means that the F308 character will render as the Facebook logo. This is important for the morph transition. We use that to animate to the first form. When departing this form, we will move the component named logo in this form to assume the position/appearance of the logo component in the destination form. The duration of the transition is 1200 milliseconds. This animation controls an effect where the logo appears translucent and gradually becomes opaque. Every 20 milliseconds, we update the opacity of the logo until we finish, which should take 1000 milliseconds. This will create an effect where the logo fades in and then moves from the center of the screen to the top or side in landscape mode. When we are done, we show the login form, which I currently implemented as a stub. All we now need is one additional CSS entry to support this. We set the background color to the blue of the splash screen. We now need to bind this to the main UI, so we need one change to the main class, Facebook clone. I replaced the default Hi World form with this call. Pressing play should result in a splash screen fading in.